He joins us on the line. Thank you very much for your time. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, and then good morning for the
I hope you're well.
I'm well, thank you yourself.
First of all, congratulations on securing that decision from the tribunal. But PDS says you were not awarded any damages. Is that accurate?
Let me say good morning to your listeners, and thank you for the opportunity. In the first place, we have to put on record that it is not ECG and the government of Ghana that initiated the arbitration. If you go to court or you go to any judicial body, you are seeking your relief or your claims. And so the focus is on what you are in court for or you are before the judicial body for. The focus is not what the adversary or the respondent is there for. It's what you have been in court for. You went there with a number of claims, and all the claims were dismissed in its entirety. That is what the focus is. If you take me to court, and I feel that because you've taken me to court, I will ask for what the lawyers call counterclaim, and then ask for certain reliefs, assuming without admitting that the court does not grant mine. Mine will be the response to yours. You are the one who dragged me to court. So that is where the focus is. As we speak, were they successful or not? They were not. As we speak, is there any liability towards ECG? Absolutely no. As we speak, did the court uphold any of their claims? No. They claim that the demand guarantees were not fraudulent. Is that the position of the tribunal or not? And those are the matters that we should be concentrating on. And so for us as a government, this is a great sign of relief. We deem this as a good news, mainly because of the history of the whole concession agreement and why we shouldn't have been here in the first place. Because if you recall, this started in 2014 when His Excellency the President John Mahama executed the MCC with the U.S. government, and we're given about $500 million to improve the power sector. The process started. The process to select a concessionaire started, and if you recall, in 2016 the NDC lost government and then NPP took over. What they did when they assumed the reins of government was to change the entire process, was to change the rules of the game, which led to all the reputable companies that had expressed interest leave. At the end of the day, we only had 3 companies to deal with, and then they settled on the Filipino company Miracle that had practically no experience in this region. That led to the formation of PDS together with 3 Ghanaian companies and 1 Angolan company. And I'm sure that we all have memories of the leaked audio of parties attempting to share the shares for PDS and the fight that ensued. And so, but for the personal interest, but for the selfishness, but for the cannibalism, PDS, which is a private sector participation in our power sector, should have been a good idea. But unfortunately, we didn't make progress because of greed. And that is why the due diligence that needed to be conducted was not done properly. That is why subsequently the government at the time itself came to the realization that after changing the bank guarantee, even the insurance guarantee that was presented was fraudulent. And so they had no option than to terminate the concession. And so for us, we are happy that there's no liability. We're happy that now the road is clear for the Attorney General to recover all monies that have been in the possession of PDS, as well as any other assets that sits in PDS today.
Okay. And that was where I was coming to the next step for you. You're saying that there are monies in their custody that you need to take back that belong to the state?
Yes. At the time they were operating ECV, they were in charge of revenues. They practically ran the whole system because it was a concession. And so the revenues that had come to them within the period still sit with them. And so the Attorney General will take steps to recover every single penny that sits with them, including any other assets that will come to the attention of the Attorney General in the state that is in possession of PDS.
Do you have an account of what they hold?
Yes, but I don't have the permission of the Attorney General to put it out. But I have details of what should be in their possession, and so the state knows what is going after. So yes, we know the amount involved.
How soon should we expect? Do you have a okay? I know that is the domain of the Attorney General, but has a discussion also been on how soon this should proceed?
So it will be immediate. The Honorable Attorney General is not in the country at the moment, and the final award was just delivered this week. And so once he's in, he rest assured that this process will commence in earnest.
Well, were there also discussions between the ministry and the Attorney General about what happens to, because you talked about cannibalism. In fact, some of the terms you use takes us back to exactly what happened that led to this. That people who were involved, who were supposed to preserve the interests of the state, among others, would there be an effort to hold them accountable? Because people keep referring to this.
Oh, of course. It's not just about recovering what is with them. I am aware that the OSP itself is conducting some investigations on PDS, which involves the former finance minister and some individuals. I'm also aware that the security services are also conducting various investigations when it comes to ECG, and PDS is a matter of interest. And so be assured that persons who have caused any liability to the state will be held accountable for their actions.
And let me conclude. I was just making a comment on this matter. Patrick Asodwedi is our presidential affairs correspondent, but I heard that, and I don't know if this came to your attention, that there were protests or attempted protests on matters of electricity provision when the president went to Savannah. The quality of electricity provision, among others. Are there issues still in the northern part, especially having to do with NEDCO? Are there still issues to be resolved?
So far as we are concerned, no. So the issues with NEDCO would have to do with distribution. We don't have any challenges. Basically, what has happened between some residents and NEDCO has to do with revenue collection and what the pushback has been. But generally, we are aware that when it comes to the northern part and part of Savannah, part of Uti and Volta, the voltage is low. It's because the lines there are 33 kV lines. And so the policy of government now is to change those lines to 161 kV or 330 kV lines. So that once you have those lines, transmission will be consistent. Once you have the 33, if you're doing the transmission, yes, the power will go, but the voltage will be low. And so some areas in those regions are experiencing that. But the government is working on that assiduously to ensure that we'll put together 161 and 330 kV in those areas. Those will be transmission issues, but not distribution issues. And then also, the government has introduced the mini grids to areas where it's hard to reach. For example, at Farm Plains, where in Katakati not too long ago, to put together a mini grid that the construction is ongoing. And so those areas that are hard to reach, government is putting together the renewable energy as a source to deal with those challenges. But generally, the outlook of the energy sector, or the power sector in particular, is good. It's been largely stable. And we expect that everybody should have power at all points in time. And so if there are these issues, if there are peculiar ones like transmission lines, is being dealt with. But for NEDCO, we don't have any issues so far as the ministry is concerned.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And one last thing.
Okay.
If you have any challenge with your power, I keep saying that because measures have been put in place to ensure that everyone has sustainable power, once your power goes off or there's any interruption, please call 0302 611 611 and report the issue. The ECG and the technical team will respond. They'll take your details, they'll attend to it, and ensure it's done. Many a time, sometimes when it goes on, people assume it's load shedding, or people assume that there's something good. But the first thing you should do is to call, at least make the complaint known, so that if the issue is peculiar, you don't end up spending hours without electricity.
Thank you. Thank you, as always.
Thank you.
Richmond Rockson is Head of Communications, Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. So you heard him. Like he said, the very next steps are to recover all assets or revenue that is in the custody of PDS. And also, there's also been the discussions about prosecuting those who were responsible for what happened with the power distribution services. One more thing to do